As we gather here today as members of this council, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community, always keeping in mind the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make a better world. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilmember Spar.
Here.
Councilmember Thacker.
Here.
Councilmember Wilkins.
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Present.
Councilmember Leopard.
Here.
Councilmember Perry.
Present.
Councilmember Reesner.
Here.
Let the record show all 7 members of council are present this evening. Minutes from September 19th, 2022, regular and committee of the whole meetings were distributed. Does anyone have any questions, corrections, or deletions? Seeing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. We are now under committee reports. Finance Committee, Councilmember Reesner.
No report, Madam President.
Thank you. Law and Community Planning, Councilmember Leopard.
Thank you, Madam President. Law and Community Planning Committee meeting was held September 19th, 2022 at 6:00 p.m. in City Council chambers. Purpose of the meeting was to discuss Mayor's request for legislation 22-40, Rumpke contract extension, and any other business presented. Attending were committee members Steve Leopard, Dan Perry, and Vicki Wilkins, along with Director of Law Brent Howard, Council Members Cheyenne Thacker and Kevin Reesner, City Administrator Dale Thornton, who joined the meeting via phone, Mayor Don Iannantuono, Dan Iannantuono, and Blake Austin representing Rumpke. City Administrator Thornton presented to committee members via email an addendum to the Rumpke contract with the City of Tiffin for a 2-year period and a 5-year period. The current contract expires March 31st, 2023. Also presented to the committee by City Administrator Thornton were local rates in the cities of Fremont, Bellevue, Fostoria, and Findlay by various contractors, including Rumpke. The proposals from Rumpke for the 2-year and 5-year contract are the same for the weekly residential trash service and curbside recycling every other week using 95-gallon totes at $13.85 and $4.09 per month for the recycling tote. An additional trash cart is $3.50 per month, and an additional recycling cart is $2.50 per month for both the 2- and 5-year contracts. The difference between the contracts is the bag sticker trash service is $3.20 per bag on a 2-year contract versus $3.61 per bag on a 5-year contract. The bag sticker every other week recycling charge is $2.39 per unit per month, 2-year contract versus $3.11 per unit per month on a 5-year contract. Monthly service pricing is subject to standard fuel surcharge. Price increases in years 2 through 5 will be subject to an annual CPI increase not to exceed 5% per year. All other terms and conditions of the original agreement dated March 28, 2018 shall remain unchanged. The contractor agrees to comply with all federal, state, and local laws and regulations to the collection, removal, and disposal of such waste material. In the event that the contractor incurs increased costs, such as but not limited to tipping fees, additional fuel costs, disposal fees, or new and increased surcharges, fees or taxes as a result of imposition of new governmental regulations not in effect at the time of acceptance of said contract, which regulate the type of material collected, the location for disposition of such material, or the payment of fees for disposing of such materials, then the city shall, after negotiation with Rumpke and approval by City Council, adjust the cost by an amount commensurate with the increases per unit operating cost incurred by Rumpke. Rumpke will continue the bag service for those customers that are currently in the program. Any new customer will be provided with a trash cart and a recycling cart. Local rates for trash service in our immediate area are as follows. Now, keep in mind, Tiffin will be $17.94 per month. Local rates for trash service in our immediate area are as follows. Fremont, service provider is Republic. They are at $19.88 per month plus fuel charge, and that is a franchise. Bellevue residents choose between two carriers. Republic is $28 per month plus fuel charge. Cyclone is $32 per month plus fuel charge.
Wow.
No recyclable services available from them. Fostoria, Apple is $22 per month plus fuel charge. Finley, Rumpke is $28.29 per month plus fuel charge and no recycle, compared to Tiffin's $17.94 with recycling. After reviewing the proposal and the local rates for other cities near us, Committee Member Perry introduced a motion to extend the contract with Rumpke for an additional 5 years, continuing through March 31st, 2028. The motion was seconded and passed by a 3-0 vote. Rumpke will continue the annual week for free bulk pickup service limited to 5 items per customer, and will continue to provide the parks, public works, and city hall with free trash and recycle service, along with additional dumpsters to the Parks Department during the 4th of July celebration. Additional business. It was brought to the attention of the chairman of this committee that a township resident had complained that city residents have been using the township OSS recycling bins and suggested that the city find a location inside the city limits and contract OSS recycling for containers. Law Director Hauer reminded us that we have a commitment with Rumpke and they have exclusive rights to citywide recycling. No further business. Meeting adjourned at 6:29 p.m.
Thank you. Any questions for Councilman Leopard? Yes, Councilman Jones.
I just want to make sure, because I was following along as you were saying it, I want to make sure I didn't mishear you. You said, did you say 5% or 4%? Because they agreed to 4%. That's correct. They dropped down. I think you said 5, but I'm not
I did
positive.
say 5%.
So they have agreed to 4%.
Okay.
Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Madam President. On the same subject, several weeks ago, I heard 5%, then I heard 4%. And I was thrilled to see, somewhere I circled it here, on this report that Councilmember Leopard just read, increases will be subject to an annual CPI increase not to exceed 5% per year. If I'm reading that right, if the CPI is only 1%, then it's going to be a 1% increase. Am I hearing that correctly?
That is correct. That's my understanding.
So that's much better than the 5 I heard and the 4 I just heard. And so,
Well, it's not to exceed 4%.
correct, it's not a. And item 2, where's my notes here? Based on that 5% after 5 years, we would be paying $21.81, if my math is correct. And based on 5 years down the road, we're still less than everyone except 22, 28, 22. No, we're less than all 5 of those. Bellevue, Fostoria, et cetera, et cetera. That was item 2. And item 3 was the page 2. Rumpke's going to provide free trash pickup for the parks, public work, city hall. Is that something new, starting for the next 5 years, or is that currently going on?
Ongoing, plus, don't forget, they're also doing
that's-
the bulk pickup of the 5 items every year also. That will continue also.
Good to know, so, there's got to be more. That was too easy. Let me check my notes here. Oh, a while back, it was a 3-year contract or a 5-year contract. Now I see on here, we're talking a 2-year contract and a 5. What changed from wherever I heard 3-year
It's
contract?
always been 2 and 5.
2 and 5? Is someone trying to say
Is
I'm
this
not,
stump the mayor?
is someone trying to say I wasn't listening again? I hear this.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm
Forget
not
that
saying
home
that at
stuff.
all. But it is 2-year and 5-year.
Okay. And the fuel charges, item 4, we're paying currently $20 a month because our quarterly bill was $60.40, I think it was, which is $20 a month. And the answer was the fuel charges. I did get online and looked at Rumpke's thing, and y'all can do it too, the public can do it. Look, the fuel charges is a preset thing. It's not something they make up and, okay, we need more money this quarter, so we're gonna bump it higher. So it's kind of a predetermined flat thing. Item 5. When I heard 3 years, which I don't know where I heard that from, but maybe I was dreaming. Even 2 years to 5 years. I said to myself, maybe a 2-year contract would be better than a 5 because 2 years from now, things may be better and improved and we can renegotiate. I know City Administrator Thornton doesn't want to renegotiate every 2 years. So I was thinking 2 years may be better than 5. Any other thoughts on that from council members?
I think given everything that was outlined and everything that you're talking about, as far as we're still going to be at a really good rate in 5 years, I don't think it makes much sense to put ourselves in a position in 2 years to possibly not have a good rate or to get something better. It's my opinion.
Thacker had something.
Councilmember Thacker?
You said everything I had to say.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Mayor.
I just want to reiterate that I think that's a heck of a deal because some people will comment that, recycles, I wish it was every week. It gets full. That is a heck of a deal for $2.50 to have an additional tote per month for the recycling and $3.50 for the trash. That is a really good deal on top of what they're already offering. So just wanted to point that out again.
Thank you. Okay, if there's nothing else, oh, I'm sorry.
The only correction that needs to be made in the Law and Community Planning report is in paragraph 3, the CPI increase not to exceed 4% instead of 5%.
Thank you. If there's nothing else, we will move on to materials and equipment. Councilmember Jones.
No report at this time, Madam President.
Thank you. Personnel and Labor Relations, Councilmember Perry.
Thank you, Madam President. The Personnel and Labor Relations Committee meeting was held on September 14th, starting at 4:32 at the council chambers to discuss chief's requests pertaining to requirements for promotion of sergeant, as well as compensation for city council, mayor, and director of law. In attendance were Councilmember Perry, Councilmember Thacker, Councilmember Spar, Mayor Iannatuno, Chief Polly, Law Director Howard, and City Administrator Thornton. Chief Polly stated that there is only one path to promote to sergeant, which is 5 years of service at the Tiffin Police Department and a college degree. The chief is requesting we give our police officers another route to sergeant, which would be 10 years of experience with 5 of those years at the Tiffin Police Department. Chief Polly stated that while a college degree is important and serves a purpose, that experience should also be a huge factor in a promotion. Councilmember Thacker asked about the current education level of the department, where Chief Polly explained most have 2 years, while some do not have that. Councilmember Spar mentioned how he agreed with the chief about how experience should trump a degree in that line of work. Councilmember Perry expressed his support of the change and asked if passing this ordinance would help keep some of our stronger officers, in which Chief Polly agreed. Councilmember Spar motioned to have the law director draft legislation to give Tiffin police officers another path to the position of sergeant of having served 10 years experience in addition to 5 years served at the Tiffin Police Department and a college degree. Councilmember Thacker seconded and the motion passed 3-0. Next, the committee discussed compensation for city council, mayor, and director of law. Director of law stated that position of mayor is currently being paid $73,030, director of law at $55,000, and the city council members being paid $5,700. After a brief discussion, the committee determined to talk about this issue with the entire council and took no action. Hearing no other business, the meeting adjourned at 4:35.
Thank you. Any questions for Councilmember Perry? All right, seeing none. Recreation and Public Property, Councilmember Wilkins.
No report, Madam President.
Thank you. Street, Sidewalks, and Sewers, Councilmember Thacker.
No report at this time, Madam President.
Thank you. Economic Development and Downtown Planning, Councilmember Spar.
No report, Madam President.
Thank you. Does anyone see the need for a committee of the whole meeting? Okay, seeing none, we are now under reports of the officers. Her Honor Mayor Dawn Yanatuno.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, thank you, everyone, for attending. We have one proclamation this evening. We are honoring Golden Hannah. She had hoped to make it to her 100th birthday, but passed away a few weeks before reaching her goal, and so I'd like to do a proclamation for her. Whereas Golden Hannah was born September 27th, 1922 in Ned, Kentucky, to the late French and Martha Frances Watts, and whereas Golden Hannah came to Tiffin at a young age and was a resident of the junior home in Tiffin after her father's unexpected death. At the junior home, she learned how to be a seamstress and a secretary. Upon graduating from the junior home, she started working at JCPenney in Tiffin. And whereas she married Melvin Hannah on June 12, 1943 in Alliance, Nebraska, they made their Tiffin their home and had 3 sons, Richard, William, and Kenneth. And whereas Golden retired from General Electric in Tiffin and was a member of First Lutheran Church, Tiffin. And whereas Golden loved attending her grandchildren and great-grandchildren's baseball, softball games, and band concerts, and always looked forward to the junior home reunions in the summers. And whereas Golden passed away at 8 a.m. Monday, August 22nd, 2022 at Good Shepherd Home, Fostoria at the age of 99. Therefore, be it resolved, I, Dawn M. Yanatuno, Mayor of the City of Tiffin, do hereby proclaim the day that would have been her 100th birthday, September 27th, 2022, in the City of Tiffin as Golden Hannah Day, on this 3rd day of October in the year of our Lord 2022. So happy belated birthday to her. Would you like the proclamation? If I remember the story right, wasn't she doing really well, and she had had a surgery and then just couldn't hang on there. That's just such a shame, because I know she really wanted to do that from the story I was told. So thank you all for coming. Well, it's been a hectic month of special events and requests, and as those wind down, I am transitioning into individual department head meetings to get the budget ready for 2023. So I will share some highlights since our last meeting. I attended my first mayor's meeting in Bowling Green last week for NOMA, which is the Northwest Ohio Mayors and Managers Association meeting, and learned that I didn't know one of our people working at the courthouse is the mayor of Republic, or I could have carpooled with him. And so it was fun meeting various close people, and it was an interesting meeting, so I enjoyed going over there. I attended the ribbon cutting for the beautiful inclusive park at Hedges Boyer. It is now open. It is outstanding. I was there Saturday with my 3 grandsons, and there's just so much room to run and play, and you can lose them very easily. I'm glad there's a fence, but there's a lot to do, and you can hold a lot of kids at the same time. Absolutely stunning. It is a wonderful addition. I will be heading to Toledo tomorrow night to attend the 2022 Heritage Ohio Annual Preservation and Revitalization Conference. Downtown Tiffin is up for several awards. I have been asked to do 2 speeches recently. One was an hour. Thank goodness for PowerPoint. It could have been a rough day, but I got through. It did it in 55 minutes. They wanted 45 to an hour, so it worked out okay. 8 of us traveled to Rumpke Recycling Center last Monday. It was very informative, and we saw for a fact that our recycles are being processed, repurposed, and sent to manufacturing facilities in Ohio. 13% does end up in the trash, but that is because of improper items placed in the totes. And so they were showing us various things that shouldn't be in there in the first place, like big garbage bags. People are throwing pizza in the pizza boxes into the recycling. And so if people would quit doing that, it would reduce that even more. So the 13% going into the trash, into the dumps, actually is because of improper stuff in the recycling materials. One of their bales of cans, there's 33,000 aluminum cans in one bale. And so it's just really impressive to see the process. And also he kept going like this, and he said, if something is smaller than your hand, do not throw that in the recycling tote. It's going to get processed out anyways. And I also like to commend Nick Dutro over there for the nice guest editorial in today's paper. Nice explanation of our trip there the other day. So nice job, Nick. Thank you. Upcoming events before our next meeting. This Saturday is the weekly farmers market from 9 to 1. Also this Saturday is CASA's Tiffin Zombie 5K Runner Walk at 10 a.m. at the Steyer Nature Preserve. October 13th is the Opportunity Center's Hoot in the Park event from 5:30 to 7. And I should add once again about trick-or-treating. Downtown trick-or-treating is October 20th. It's a Thursday from 4 to 6. And the city of Tiffin is doing it on Sunday, October 30th from 3 to 5. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Questions for the mayor? Okay, thank you. Clerk of Council, Ann Forrest.
No report, Madam President.
Thank you. Director of Finance, Kathy Kaufman.
No report, Madam President.
Thank you. And Director of Law, Brent T. Howard.
No report, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. We are now under written communications.
Tonight, we have Finance Director's request for legislation number F22-41 to amend the 2022 Budget Ordinance 21-105 to appropriate funds into the General Administration budget.
Finance Director's request for legislation F22-41 has been prepared for tonight's meeting as ordinance 22-92.
Finance Director's request for legislation number F22-42 to amend the 2022 Budget Ordinance 21-105 to appropriate funds into the WCPLF Loan Fund and to approve the advance to the Sewer Fund.
Finance Director's request for legislation F22-42 has been prepared for tonight's meeting as ordinance 22-93.
And we have Mayor's Letter of Appreciation for a donation by the Tiffin Women in Action to Parks and Recreation Department.
Mayor's letter of appreciation will be held on file in the clerk's office.
And that concludes the written communications.
Thank you. We are now under oral communications. Anyone wishing to address council may step to the podium, sign in, and direct their questions to myself. You sure?
Oh, come on, you know you meant it.
Okay. All right, we are now under motions. Are there any motions this evening? Seeing none, we are now under resolutions and ordinances.
There are no resolutions this evening, but we have ordinance number 22-88, introduced by Kevin Reesner. Ordinance authorizing the city administrator to prepare and submit an application to participate in the H2 Ohio program for the development of an educational wetlands at Hedges Boyer Park to execute contracts as required and declaring an emergency.
This is the second reading of ordinance 22-88.
Ordinance number 22-90, introduced by Steve Leopard. Ordinance authorizing city administrator to execute an addendum to the city's contract with Rumpke of Ohio Incorporated or related company for curbside recycling and trash hauling for municipal facilities and residential units to extend the term of the contract through March 31st, 2028 with certain rate adjustments.
This is the first reading of ordinance 22-90.
Ordinance number 22-91, introduced by Daniel Perry. Ordinance amending section 149.032C5 of Tiffin codified ordinances establishing a path based on law enforcement experience for sergeant candidates in the Tiffin Police Department.
This is the first reading of ordinance 22-91.
Ordinance number 22-92, introduced by Kevin Reesner. Ordinance amending 2022 Budget Ordinance 21-105 to appropriate $20,754.49 into the general administration budget for the purchase of decorative snowflakes.
This is the first reading of ordinance 22-92. Councilmember Reesner.
I would move for the passage of ordinance 22-92 and also move to suspend City Council's 3-reading rule.
Thank you. There's a motion for suspension of ordinance 22-92 and immediate passage. Is there a second? Councilmember Perry.
I'll second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? And Councilmember Reesner.
Okay, I'm going to give a quick, I did a little talking with TSEP about this, and I wanted to summarize this. This might answer some questions. There's a total of 61 light poles downtown, and that matched the 2022 TSEP Dream Big report, which came in at $31K. The objective is to make the downtown brighter, prevent vandalism, and increase visibility of community branding. Found out they needed to be two-sided, which need to be seen from both directions, thus requiring 122 potential snowflakes. The downtown revitalization worked with Public Works and determined that there were a few poles that have brackets for hanging baskets and signs that would interfere with some of the snowflakes. So the number then got brought down from 122 down to 98. That gives the potential to put snowflakes on 49 of the 61 poles downtown. Their goal is to have them done to hang as soon as this season, and that's the reason for the suspension of the 3-reading rule. They're working with Arnold Machine to get the materials ordered and begin production and Sentinel on the assembly and addition of the lighting. So they're aiming for a mid-November install. And the schedule's going to be tight, but they're going to remain in place annually through March every year.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Councilmember Jones.
I did have discussion, but Councilmember Reesner answered my question. For the public's benefit, I was going to ask, why are we suspending the 3-reading rule? But with the mid-November timeframe, I guess it's necessary to meet those deadlines, so.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, we will first vote on the suspension.
Councilmember Spar.
Yes.
Thacker.
Yes.
Wilkins.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
And Reesner.
Yes.
Suspension passes with a vote of 7-0. We will now vote on the passage.
Councilmember Spar.
Yes.
Thacker.
Yes.
Wilkins.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Leopard.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
And Reesner.
Yes.
Ordinance 22-92 passes with a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance number 22-93, introduced by Kevin Reesner. Ordinance amending 2022 Budget Ordinance 21-105 to appropriate $10,000 into the Water Pollution Control Center Loan Fund to return the advance from the Sewer Revenue Fund.
This is the first reading of ordinance 22-93.
And that concludes the written ordinances.
Thank you. We are now under other business. One of the topics that we had discussed at our last regular council meeting was the salary for the mayor as well as the law director. And it was agreed upon that we would continue that discussion in other business tonight. So with that, does anyone have additional commentary, questions, opinions on the salaries of the law director and the mayor as we discussed? Councilman Perry.
Thank you. So Nick Dutro provided me with the document, and honestly, you could use this to support and to not support a raise because it's literally all over the board. I mean, I highlighted a few of them. I would have highlighted them, but Nick didn't give me a highlighter. Just give me a pen. But one that is very similar in size, Streetsboro, 16,000 people. The mayor makes 85,000. There's others where the mayor makes up to 135,000. One, Rocky River, 20,000 people, and their mayor makes 98. And then council as well. I mean, you'll just see down the list, I mean, it just goes pretty much in the range of 6 to 8, some over 10. So I think Nick did forward it to everybody, so everybody will have it in their email. It doesn't give all the cities, and it doesn't break it down like you would. I mean, a lot of them are left empty. I'm sure not everybody turned in their data. But another thing that really stuck out to me was law director, because I feel like there's not one, there might be a few that are under what our law director makes, but a lot of them are in that 80 to, that 70 to 80 range. So definitely, I'm in support of all these bumping a little bit. And in some cases, especially the law director, I think drastically is what I think. But again, I think everybody should review this and see what they pull from it. And like cities, I don't think we should. Tiffin's very unique, where I've never seen a city with our population, 18,000 thrive like it does. I mean, the reason that we didn't get a restaurant for how many years was because we didn't have the population. Then they throw a restaurant in our city and, boom, you get 2, 3, 4 more of them because it does so well. Would be my initial comments. But I would want everybody just to kind of check your email and you could see all this data that I was pointing out.
The other thing that I would, thank you for that, that's super helpful. The other thing in my research that I noticed is not only were the salaries higher, but the amount of support that the mayor or the law director in similar cities have that we don't. The one had an executive assistant and a special executive assistant to the mayor, and the law director also had 2 assistants in some of the ones that I was looking at. We don't have, those additional supports, and the mayor and the law director take full on those responsibilities as one. Obviously, they have some that support them as far as the city administrator and others, but specific assistance like that, we don't have that. Yeah, Councilman Perry.
Just one more thing to point out. This survey is from 2019. So especially here recently with inflation and everything to keep up, even with the salaries. From 2019, you're talking at least, probably 10%. From inflation perspective. So just another thing to keep into account when you look at that email.
One of my questions too is what flexibility financially do we have on this? I mean, what does that look like as far as what room we have to be able to give any sort of increases for these 2 roles? And again, not something you have to, I put you on the spot tonight, Kathy, but not something you have to respond to tonight. But I guess that's one of my questions is, how realistic is it, for some of these increases and what that looks like?
I guess I would better be able to answer that once I know what you would suggest. Yeah, there's some room there.
Okay.
But I don't know.
That's helpful. Okay. Other, yes, Councilman Spora.
I think it would be interesting, and this is not in support or not in support of it. I'm just interested as you went through those wide-ranging numbers, but also, Rocky River is in a much more urban area, et cetera. I'm wondering what the percentage of those salaries are of the economics of the area. How much money is that city pulling in? Or do they have a lot of industry that pays a lot of tax? Are they wealthy areas that can afford that? Is it the same percentage across the board? Or is it also wildly ranging? I think would be an interesting number to see.
Right. It is like, you could go to one where I saw back here, where Galleon, the mayor makes $30,000, and that's a full-time mayor. Obviously we're a little bit bigger in Galleon, a lot different city, but like I said, you could really cherry pick whatever information you want from this survey and in support of whatever position you wanted. But
sure,
it's just something to take into account as a whole. And not that this is the end all be all for our argument, but something to definitely take into account while you're thinking about making a change.
Yes,
I think it's a good argument to say, yeah, take a look at it because you do your due diligence and then set that aside because we know our area best. We know the people, what we expect of the people in those roles and what a Findlay or a Rocky River or a Streetsboro or whoever is doing is really up to them. I wouldn't want to base our decision on, well, we can't be giving more than somebody else because they have the same numbers that we do.
Correct.
So I just wanted to put that out there.
that's helpful. Councilmember Reesner.
Is it even reasonable to assume maybe it's good to tie this to the city, like, was it 3% they gave everybody in the city on average this last, for the 2022? Not to tie it to that percentage, but to tie it into an annual increase so that because I think this has been in place since 2018 now with untouched, is that right?
Yeah.
So that they don't have to revisit in another 5 years where it's a small percentage increase every year. Based on whatever you come up with the budget for the city employees.
Councilmember Perry.
Just, what we discussed in our meeting, it was 2018, I believe, that they had increased the law director and the mayor, I believe. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then 2010 was the last time they did any kind of, I guess you just established pay for the council. And that has not been touched since. So, and not that any of us do it for the money whatsoever. It's just a good time to look at it as well because all 7 seats are up for election this next cycle. So this change wouldn't take effect until 2024, I believe. So it just, I think it's a good time to look at it and, whatever decision we come to, just.
Thank you. Councilmember Leopard.
Thank you. I'd like to kind of pick the brain of TSEP a little bit if we can. If they have any information about what the presidents of our local businesses earn per year. Is that something that TSEP has a handle on?
I don't believe so. That would all be private corporation, company, trade secrets. I don't know how many of them are going to willingly offer it out.
Mm-hmm.
I can ask, and honestly, if any of them would be willing to contribute that, but I don't have any responses.
Thank you.
Councilmember Thacker.
I'm definitely all for an increase for mayor and for the law director. Just knowing what several area law directors, not law directors, but, attorneys make in our area per hour. This is, and we don't have to pay them, the going hourly rate. I'm not saying that would be a huge expense, but like Brent explained during our meeting, he is treating our council as almost a large scale corporation that he's representing, right? So we have to think about the fact that we are taking up a lot of somebody's personal time, their education, their knowledge, their research, and I don't want to say that it's worthless. I want, especially whoever takes over the position next, we want to make sure that there's an incentive there for somebody who is qualified to take on that position.
Right, and to continue. Brent has definitely dedicated a lot of time that I don't think he's been compensated well for. So I would want somebody in that role that can continue and, to your point, be incentivized to put that work ethic towards it and be motivated by that. Other comments, questions, opinions?
You both need to come up.
Yeah, agreed. I know you're looking for something. Are you looking for questions?
No, this is something else.
Okay, all right. So can someone remind me what the deadline is? I know it's before end of year, but law director,
It's,
thank you.
the charter requires 5 days prior to the filing of declarations of candidacy for all these positions. I was looking at my notes, it's approximately January 25th that you would need to have the legislation to be in effect. So I would suggest that legislation should be introduced no later than the second meeting of November. So it could be read 3 times. And then at the second meeting in December, it could be voted on. 30 days it will go into effect. And that would be before the required deadline. Everyone would know, there was a question in the committee meeting about would people know? You want to make sure that anyone interested in those positions would understand what the compensation, and I think clearly they would see, if they're following city council action, they would know that in December it was voted on. And so I think that's you could obviously introduce the legislation prior to the second meeting in November, but that would be I think the last that you'd want to start the process.
Okay. And is the approach that, that you guys had talked about, obviously bringing this to council for discussion, but would the legislation also be decided, I guess, here, or would that is the thinking for that to go back to a committee to drop that legislation?
Well, the committee, I believe, felt that this was the type of issue that's so important that the entire council should weigh in and have a discussion, so that from the discussions of council, then legislation could be recommended to be presented.
Here, okay.
Yes, so it would not go back to a committee, I believe.
Okay. I just didn't know if it was just discussion here, but then decision at committee. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions or comments regarding this topic? I think we can take some more homework away, and if you guys can please be prepared at the next council meeting to discuss, that would be great. If there's anything in the interim, please don't hesitate to reach out, but let's start maybe coming up with some recommendations so that we can get some numbers together and some realistic options. Yes, Councilman Perry.
Just, myself thinking where I think these ought to get to. I know, even a 10% doesn't get it there. My head, I think, I think the mayor should be bumped 10 grand. I think the director of law should be bumped 10 to 15. And council should at least meet that requirement for the retirement, which I think we figured out was 700 or some a month. Is that what you?
Yeah, it was 7.
But that's just me. That's just Dan Perry talking. I mean, just something to think about going into the next meeting, where we think these ought to go, and then discuss next meeting. So.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any other business to come before council this evening? Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Madam President. We had the first reading on ordinance 2293, and I'm just a little foggy, for lack of better adjectives. Return the advance from the sewer fund to another fund. Could someone explain, did we loan some money and we're getting it back, or why did they need it and now they don't? So before we get to the third reading and vote on this, I'd like
Director of Finance.
clarification.
So this is for the Water Pollution Control Center upgrade that we did. It was a loan that we were getting money for to help pay for the project. So at the end of last year, we paid an invoice, and we were not going to get the income in before the end of the year, which our fund was negative. So I did an advance to cover that negative. And now I have to return that, because advances have to be returned to the original fund that it came from. Transfers do not have to be, but advances do.
Okay, thank you.
Any other business to come before council? Councilman Jones.
I'd like to go back and retouch on that sidewalk program, that either we have a committee of the whole and kick this around or discuss it, or was it Matt Watson had a proposal of First Ward, Second Ward, Third Ward, Fourth Ward, but I would like to keep this in our thoughts here, because people walking on good sidewalks is important to the residents of Tiffin. And I keep saying over and over, knock on our door several years ago, painted our sidewalk red, blue, whatever it was. Cost of Jones's $800 and I think it was $24. If we could have got a grant for half of that, $410, that would have been great. And if maybe that's the thing holding people up from repairing their sidewalks is the total cost. And I would like to try to do something for the residents of Tiffin.
There's never been a grant doing that with sidewalks. Sidewalks is always out of the homeowner's pocket. What happens is if they didn't have the money, the city put it on their taxes and they paid for it that way. There's never been, you would have saved half of that. We've never done that. We could never afford to do that. I understand your point. I agree that we do need to start doing something with sidewalks. I just hesitate to bother poor Matt Watson right now because he's getting ready to start major sewer projects coming up along with the bridge. And so the timing could not be worse to try to get him to take on one more project. He does have a plan for it, and I do think it's a great idea. But let's let him get through some of this other stuff first. But I agree, we do need to do something with that.
The other issue is that I think it was discussed in the committee, the timing of this, because we're in turbulent financial times right now, possibly a recession. Is this the time to go out and ask people then to put those sidewalks in at a time when they may be struggling themselves? So that's another aspect of this that we have to look at. I think Matt was kind of in agreement with that. Maybe we roll it out by ward in 2 or 3 years, but probably not over the next year or two.
He did say that because he said he wanted to warn people that will be coming to their ward, and this gives them, like Dale said, a year or 2 or 3 to start saving up the money for it so that we don't have to come up with so much money to cover, because somebody's got to cover it, whether it's the homeowner or we put it on their taxes, but then we're still out that money until it comes back on the taxes. But he did say this way they have a heads up that we're coming, because we're trying to time it, and this is Matt's point, he's trying to time it that when we're paving streets, that we also do sidewalks, because we're putting in handicap ramps on these streets with no sidewalks. And so that's where we got to figure out a way to mesh these two together. And he does have a plan, but like I said, he's going to try to roll it out in another 2 years, probably not right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other topics to come before council this evening? Yes, Councilman Jones.
For the good of the community and the good of myself, I was driving 101 from I don't want to say the recycling center on 100 and 224, but coming back into Tiffin, and the bicycle designated routes, whichever you pronounce it, on a state highway being 101, it said bicycles can use the full lane. Am I understanding this? If a bicycle is going 12 miles an hour from St. Francis to 25-mile-an-hour speed, or even all of St. Joe's or through town, and I'm driving behind this bicycle going 12 miles an hour for discussion purposes, I just have to be patient and follow them the entire route until I turn.
Bicycles have the right to be on the road also. They're not supposed to be on sidewalks. And so hopefully, in some cases, people will kind of get over so cars can get around. But if they don't, they do have the right to be on the road. And that's why those sharrows are there, to tell people that they have the right to the road also and to share. That's why they're called sharrows, to share the lane. I understand.
So I need to turn my cell phone off for the next, how many years? Because I can imagine.
Most bicyclists do get over so you can get around them. But
Okay, I just wanted
they are allowed to
get that
be
out
there.
in the city's
Certainly you can
knowledge.
pass when it's safe to pass and there's, it's permitted to pass in that area. We've done this for years and years. How often do you get behind a farm wagon in the season or a combine that is going down the road? They have the right to be there. We pass them when we can safely. It's no different from bikes, except that I think most bicyclists try to get over as far as they can safely.
Yeah, I think for their own safety too.
Well, there's that fear.
Yeah. Especially if you got Ken driving behind you. Sounds like.
City Administrator, that was an excellent point. You're correct. I've been behind tractors and wagons and et cetera, thinking nothing of it, so it's not much different, I guess. Okay, just.
I might acknowledge, if I could, we talked about the snowflakes and the city's donation, that the other half of that funding came from the Tiffin Community Foundation, so that we are grateful to them for
Absolutely.
coming up with half of those funds.
It's great. Thank you. It's awesome. Anything else to come before council this evening? Don't do it.
I hate to bring
Hey,
this up.
we were going to have a
Councilman
short meeting.
Yeah, Councilman Jones.
On a lighter side, what is the average speed of a bicycle? Does anyone, is it 6 miles an hour, 18 miles an hour?
Depends on if it's electric.
And I think it depends on your leg strength, frankly. My average is about 1 mile an hour. So
I didn't want to hear that. I want a bigger number, larger number. Danny, give me a larger.
I can do 10.
Yeah,
Yeah, 12 to 15 is unheard of.
The electric ones are going at least 15.
Yeah, some of them
At
can
least.
go up to 20.
My son modified my husband's and it actually goes faster than 15.
Oh, you got it?
No, his bicycle. Not his little Grom that he's still waiting on.
Okay. Is there anything else? All right. Thank you. We will adjourn this evening.
I think you're trying to stump the mayor, Ken.
I'll get you one of